Hello, this is Black Sun. It depends on where you are. Where if you are in the United States, England, wherever you are, have a good afternoon, have a good morning, have a good evening. It depends on the place you are. Secondly, I also send my greetings to King Charles for his coronation. For the past 70 years, he has been the first king of England, a true king of England, a true royal blood. And second goes to the NATO alliance, Joe Biden, United States, and all the countries that have classified collaboration with the forces from other world. Not long ago, there was a discussion that was going on in the United Nations that I sent a comment that the United States President Biden believed it was a threat. I was testing the message for them to resign from power. Whatever I do, the Pope of Rome have learned a lot about it. There is a lot of stone tablets and scriptures and scrolls written down, hidden in the secret library of Vatican that talks about the end of the world. I don't think anyone on this world wants end of this world, like the way the African continent is sinking. Even the African continent that is sinking, there is a way to solve it once and for all. But however, it has become a problem, and nobody in this world care about the African continent that is sinking because we don't count them part of this world. I know they are evil. The source of the evil in the cruelty of Africa and the corrupt administration of the Africans is because most of their members in the ECOWAS are people with mark of the beast, and they use the people with mark of the beast that they call it witchcraft for evil. They take all their resources, their gold, diamond, manganese, and the rest to corrupt people, deceive people. They use their resources to borrow huge sum of money and lie to their people. They will create jobs, create employment for the people, and they deceive them. The witchcraft people with mark of the beast practice is the source of the suffering of the African continent. I've studied them for years and for years. I know the world is in a panic, waiting for alien invasion, expecting aliens to invade Earth any moment from now. That is not what I want. We have a way to change the future, like the way in the ancient days the Romans stood on their feet to correct the future of the apocalypse. The prophecy of the apocalypse was once launched 2,000 years ago, the time Jesus Christ from Nazareth was sent from the heavens to come in human form to separate the ordinary people from the people with mark of the beast that we call them witches today. He made a mistake and put the laws upon his own hands and used the heaven power to heal a witch. That is when he said it in the Bible. Food made for the children of God are not for dogs. Because in the eyes of the king, heaven king Yahweh, he will spread dogs than the people with mark of the beast. Whoever they are, they made their choices that way. They chose to serve their animals that they worship today. People with mark of the beast, whatever they do is legal because Olympics have accepted it, that they can worship animals. Since the days of the ancient days, we created a temple for them. During the reign of God kings, every God king was having a temple, a zoo in his house, having different kind of animals, different kind of species in the castle. It was not there for a decoration. It was designed there for people with mark of the beast to pray to the animals so that the God king will take the prayer from the animals and carry it to God. Or they will pray direct to the animals for the birds to fly to the heavens and pray to God that God, this is the desire and the heart will of people with mark of the beast. So heal their prayers and fulfill their heart desires for them. But what I see now is we are experiencing the threat and the fall of this continent. First of all, Vladimir Putin is not what he seems to be. He looks like a mortal, but he's the one worthy to rule as Lord of the earth. The bloodline union is ongoing. I know the people with the mark of the beast who call themselves witches today believe I'm racist. I am not racist. The God Yahweh, the heaven king, do not like them. He say food that you give to people with mark of the beast or a Gentile, give it to dogs. Because in their eyes, goodness means evil and evil means good. I have a plan to solve this kind of problem. The bloodline union, I know there is immortality in it, that the people with mark of the beast who are witches, they are mortals and they want it. But what I want to tell them is whatever going on is a trap. The reason why I'm saying it specifically is a trap is because angels, Nephilims, fallen angels, gods, are not allowed to harm the living or the mortals. I repeat, Yahweh himself, fallen angels, demigods, the gods, and the entire seven kingdoms and the dark matter do not have a right to harm any mortal in this world, especially people with mark of the beast. People with mark of the beast have lived in existence since the days of the Nephilim age until now, and they are still living. Horrible end of the world prophecy that is coming to pass, that is happening now, that the war between the West and the Russians is taking place now, is a prophecy that we can change. We can avoid it because people with mark of the beast, that we call them witches today, whatever will happen to them is their own mistake that will summon it. It's not I uniting the bloodline. The prophecy says, first, war will happen between the West and the Russians. And during that war, the bloodline reunion will happen. And when the bloodline reunion takes place, aliens will invade Earth. And when aliens invade Earth, the fallen angels too will invade Earth. They will slaughter our people with mark of the beast. The four horsemen of the apocalypse are out. I summoned them and unleashed them to this world myself. I did this myself because I am the only one who will the power to do it so. But however I did it in the name and the orders of the heaven king Yahweh himself. The people with mark of the beast, no god or angel or fallen angel or alien is allowed to lay hands on them unless they become a god. The angels in heaven, they are very pride, they are very racist. They will never fight someone if the war is not equalizers, if they are not fighting as equals. They fight as equals. So, if people with mark of the beast involve themselves in the bloodline, it will then turn them to become angels, to become gods like in Anunnaki, to become like aliens, to become like fallen angels. That will give the fallen angels a chance to fight them as equals. And the band and the law that was made during the time of Solomon, that the fallen angels and the angels prayed to God, that God, we do not want the mortals to see us again. That band will be lifted, and the curse will be lifted. And the people with mark of the beast will then become equals to the angels and the heavens. Not long ago, I delivered a message to the people with mark of the beast who call themselves witches in Africa and the whole wide world, including Richard Ojeda's platform in the United States, who is now contesting the election we have in the United States with Donald J. Trump and many more. The message I sent was, people with mark of the beast should stop accusing the fallen angels and Lucifer Morning Star for the crimes that they commit. Why am I saying this? Not long ago, but it's long for the mortals. King Nebuchadnezzar, who was the lion summoned from the seas to rule the Babylonians, made a prophecy to the heaven king that the people with mark of the beast we have on earth now, a time will come, they will do evil, hatch conspiracies, and accuse the heaven king Yahweh and his angels and his Olympus members and hold them responsible for the evil that they do. The heaven king Yahweh became hysterical and became upset, and he became angry, and he cursed King Nebuchadnezzar and condemned him to a beast. However, King Nebuchadnezzar said, have come to pass. Now, people with mark of the beast create illness for the mortals and accuse fallen angels, especially Lucifer morning star, for their crimes. I know the people in the church of Satan try to legalize Satanism for everyone on earth to hear Lucifer morning star is not the one responsible for the cruelty and the evil on earth. Every evil that happening on this earth is done by the free will and the free will of the mortals and the mortals alone. There is no fallen angels influence, and there is no entity that influence people with mark of the beast to do evil. They do it with their own free will. Just like the bloodline union that is ongoing. I sent the message. The bloodline union is for God kings. It's for King Anunnaki, reptilians, Pleiadian, Anunnakis, the dynasties of Egypt, and all the seven kingdoms that Yahweh, the king of the gods of the universe, gave orders. That the gods of the seas of the universe, mother of creations, and the gods who created all the living in the universe gave orders. That the laws of the universe, Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva, Lord Ram, Lord Ramanaya, and the rest gave orders. That the gods of the seas of the universe, that is Poseidon, queen of the sea, um, and all the dynasties of the seas, that the warriors of the Ragnarok, and all the warriors of the new Freya, Attila, and the rest are involved. That they're soldiers fighting in the battlefield of the universe. That is the king of the forces from another world, that I myself command their forces. And that we now have the dark matter and many more. We have all joined forces together as one, and there is peace. What Osiris, Moses, Solomon couldn't fulfill have been fulfilled. What I expect from now is to have permanent peace in this world. It is not good to see the world destroyed. This world is for Lucifer Morningstar, and is not for any entity to destroy it. It is not for any evil to destroy it. My dream is to have a united, peaceful world without evil. That is why I was sending messages to Biden and the United Nations for them to put a stop to the war we have with the Russians and name Vladimir Putin Lord of the Earth. The reason why we have to put a stop to that, I know the Soviet Union is a threat to United Nations. Just like the African country, many of the African countries, including Ghana, got their independence from the Soviet Union. Because the time Dr. Kwame Nkrumah wrote a lecture to England to gain independence from Elizabeth II, who was then the Queen of England, all the chiefs in Ghana wrote a lecture to rebut it and said they do not want any independence until Haile Selassie and Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who was during a contender to the United Gold Convention, went to Soviet Union and they gained independence for Ghana. I know there will be an interference. It will affect the United Nations territories. It will affect the dollar rate, even our currency. It will affect how we do business. The reason why I'm saying that is there was not long ago, Saddam Hussein was selling oil in his country currency. It was a threat to the United States. So we find a way to solve the problem and get rid of the solution. Like Muhammad al-Gaddafi, I know he was a good man to his people, a very good leader for his people, like Ramesses. But in the eye of the world, he was someone who was sponsoring terrorist group and people who are unworthy to be supported. However, our plan is to have a global citizenship. That Dr. Kofi Annan started it long time ago for us to have a global citizenship so that the Africans dying in the Sahara will stop crossing the desert to Europe, to Italy, to go and work. But the Africans who are dying in the Sahara, suffering in their countries, they are suffering because of the cruel leaders and the corrupt leaders they have in their country and the corrupt administration that they have. But I blame them. In Africa, it's the people with mark of the beast who control the system. The people with mark of the beast control the country. In their eyes, goodness means evil and evil means good. They lie to each other all the time. Most of the ECOWAS members, too, are people with mark of the beast. So my question is, they themselves use their witchcraft for evil. They lie to each other and corrupt each other every time. So if someone of your kind, who is a fraud and evil than you, tell you, I'll create factories, I'll create jobs, give you good education, good drinking water, good power supply, um, give you the best of life, tell you that and you believe it, you have to know it's a lie. So the capital blame, I'll blame, is to blame them themselves, because the people with mark of the beast in Africa is not like those in the West. They use their power for evil. They deceive each other. They lie to each other. And they corrupt each other. And when they are suffering, they accuse Lucifer Morningstar. They have not set their eyes on him before and said, their power and whatever we see is for us. Secondly, the bloodline union. The Africans are saying they are involved, especially the people with mark of the beast. I know there is a prophecy, when the bloodline complete, my eye will turn to laser and it will turn to a form of light. So they use torches and lights to do it. I want them to understand how the bloodline reunion goes. The bloodline reunion is for God kings. It is designed for all the species in the universe, including the species from other worlds and the dynasty of Egypt, the dynasty of the seas, and all the forces from other worlds. That bloodline is made for us all. If all the tribes and all the species come together and join together as one, and the bloodline connect, the leader of the bloodline eye will turn to laser. It is not a ritual that we do it for them. Let me give them an example. When you go to India, the most of their gods and most of their beings they have there, you see the gods whose eyes look like a light. It is not intentionally that they turn their eyes to light. Even the dynasty of the earth, the time we were having 7 kingdoms on earth, that earth and ox and the rest were on earth. The earths who unite the bloodline were having that laser lighting eye. Thor Ragnarok once have it. They had it because of the bloodline, not because he's a tender Lord alone. If all the bloodline join together, it will bring a uniform electricity and energy that will turn the one uniting the bloodline eye to laser. It's not any rituals that they do, they happen. And the bloodline is not a resurrection ritual like raising vampires, werewolves, reptilians, and the undead. It happened naturally. That is why we choose someone special who can contain all the power of the universe and unite it so that the gods and the kingdom of heaven will bless it and it will unite equally. The bloodline union, most of the species have not arrived because of the interference of the people with mark of the beast. They believe if they come, so far as people with mark of the beast are involved, it will fulfill the prophecy and make people afraid and the rest. Because everything is written. However, prophecy written upon this world, it is there for ages. It will happen by our own free will and how we behave. I know there are some of them that is automatic, that is happening naturally. For instance, the African sinking continent that is sinking. Very soon there will be a volcanic eruption, earthquake, tsunami in Africa. That the birds in Africa have senses and they are flying to Europe. They are flying to Europe because they are afraid. Animals have powerful senses than people with mark of the beast who can sit in their room and see someone else in a different room. Animal can sense magnetic field on the land. They can sense volcanic eruption. They can sense tsunami. They can sense anything that happens in this world. So, through that senses,